I'm Peggy Olson, the prayer chaplain, one of the prayer chaplains. We have a team of 4, and if you want to pray with any of us, we're always available and welcome when we're here. Our prayer chaplains for today will be myself and Sherilyn Q. So now I'm taking this time to get ready for our day, our morning. Breathing in a deep breath for a moment and centering your attention in that beautiful center of that heart space.
That together. There is only one presence and one power active in the universe and in my life. God the good, omnipotent.
Okay, this is a cool one. This is from Good Cheer by Lillian DeWaters, Chapter 4, Self-Harmony. Self-harmony is that state of mind that is quiet, restful, confident, that does not reap its peace from the without, but from the within. It is to maintain unruffled calm when you are blamed, abused, or treated unjustly. It is to be habitually honest, fearless, joyous, generous, loving, and kind. To wonder at nothing that is said about you, to feel nothing that is done against you. It is perpetual calmness of thought based upon the conviction that the good alone is the all of life. It is to think nothing but good, know nothing but good, act nothing but good. It is to have a joy so great that sorrow cannot pierce it, to have a soul so big, so full of love and compassion, that all who come within your mental touch will be strengthened, blessed, and enriched. It is never to wound another by thought nor act, but always to seek to cultivate and to unfold the good in those who are willing to be helped and enlightened. Pretty cool.
So good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Today's daily word is the gift of life. I live each day in celebration for the sacred gift of life. I give thanks that I am spiritually centered so that whatever I do, I am consciously aware of God. Every part of my mind, body, and spirit joins in the celebration of wonder. Divine life flows through me now in unlimited measure. This life renews, revitalizes, restores, and perfects me. I am wholly and vibrantly alive, aglow with pure, dynamic life. I greet the day with eager anticipation. God's presence ensures that the fantastic and unexpected are a normal part of my being. I am ever evolving through the gifts of spirit, or the gifts of spirit. Each moment is an opportunity to strengthen my faith, courage, joy, wisdom, happiness, and love. I live each day in celebration for this precious gift of life. And from Psalm 16:11, you show me the path of life. In your presence there is fullness of joy. In your right hand are pleasures forevermore.
My thoughts are creating my reality. As I think, so I am. My thoughts are becoming things eventually. So I'll raise them as high as I can. Peace, be still. I am enough. Peace, be still. I close my eyes and lift my hands up. Peace, be still. Holy Spirit, fill my cup. Peace, be still. Peace, be still. I want to lead us in a guided meditation, something a little different. If you choose to participate, everything's always optional here. Then just follow along with my voice and a few actions.
And now I have the honor of introducing our guest speaker today, Reverend Manzel Berlin. Reverend Manzel started his formal training at the Candler School of Theology and has a master's in divinity during the period when Jimmy Carter was president. He then served at many Methodist churches, some of those in southwest Iowa, which is where he and I both grew up. And he also has taught at Unity Village, and has taught people how to give sermons. And in fact, one of the things he had people do is to make a very succinct 6-minute sermon that they could get all the key points in, and had to do it within 6 minutes. So that's what we're expecting today, 6 minutes. The last thing I'll say is that his wife is a senior minister at Unity Atlanta. What's her name again?
Jennifer Sachs.
That's it. I knew it was Jennifer. I couldn't remember her last name. So please welcome Reverend Manzel.
Myrtle once said, and these may not have been her original words, I think somebody else at Unity said it first, but she echoed this term. Previous generations have said, how can I control my child? But now what we say is, how can I set my child free? That is, to set free from our own internal negative thoughts, our own prejudice, our own greed, our own self-doubts and condemnations, our jealousies, and many of the tapes we picked up not only from parents but other people in the culture. Charles and Myrtle both referred to this as race consciousness. But Myrtle was very big in believing there was a need for people to be set free, and that it took a lot of discipline or training the mind. So Myrtle went to Oberlin and she became a teacher. She taught in Clinton, Missouri for a number of years before going to Denison, Texas, and in Denison is where she met Charles. Now in Clinton, Missouri, I went there and I looked it up. She was a junior high teacher. There were 2 teachers in all the junior high. There were like 167 junior high students and only 2 teachers. Myrtle was the highest paid teacher in the district. In other words, she was recognized as quite an awesome teacher. But for health reasons, the doctors had encouraged her to go to a better climate, and that's why she moved to Denison, Texas. And in Denison, Texas, is where she met Charles. She was active in the temperance movement, and that's where Charles first heard about her. In fact, the Denison newspaper published something about this movement, and it said, even the likes of Charles Fillmore has taken the pledge. Which tells us something, but anyway, Charles and Myrtle were not an item at that time, but they knew who each other was, and Myrtle had started her own school. I believe that it was a junior high school and that it was open to all races. Now she was a northerner, and she was, for freeing the slaves. At the same time that she was there, there were 2 other teachers from Missouri. You know who they were? The sister of Frank and Jesse James, and the cousin of Frank and Jesse James, that is the sister of Bob and Cole Younger. And they were pro-slavery people. And Quantrill's raiders had wintered in that area of Texas during the war, so many of them went there and settled after the war. In fact, that was one of the first places where the Klan popped up in Texas. So Myrtle had started a new school, and the newspapers were lauding it and saying what a wonderful school it was. It was a success. And all of a sudden, Myrtle makes a retreat back to Clinton, Missouri. Now, why did she do that? Well, the Reconstruction came to a screeching halt, and there had been a tie for the vote for presidency, and the person who became president made a promise. He said, if you'll support me in this, and especially if southern states will agree to it, I will pull the federal troops out of the South, which he did, and all of a sudden it wasn't safe for Myrtle to be there. And I believe it's because her school welcomed children of all races. So I quoted one Bible verse, "You shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free." And that was central to everything that Myrtle did. Another verse in the Bible has Jesus saying, "Be ye perfect, as your Father in heaven is perfect." Now, sometimes that word perfect, we think of perfectionism, somebody that is, any little flaw is a problem and we get all bent out of shape over it. That's not what it means. That term that is translated in English as "be ye perfect as your Father in heaven is perfect" means mature. Be ye mature as your Father in heaven is. In other words, evolving. Jesus is telling us to evolve in our spirit. And that's what Myrtle believed in. Not only is transformation possible, but becoming more Christ-like is indeed what we're called on to do. There's a value in positive thinking, but there's more to it than that. For Myrtle, it wasn't just thinking positively. It was uniting yourself with the power of truth, a power greater than ourselves. And Myrtle believed that the intelligence of God was in everything and in everyone. That we have the divinity of God within us. We are all children of God. We are all connected to God. We're all connected to one another. But beyond that, we have the ability to grow more in the Christ mind. Now, let me tell you a couple of the reasons why I fell in love with Unity and Myrtle Fillmore when I first started studying there. Yes, I went to Emory, Candler School of Theology, and I studied with some of the greatest instructors. And one of the courses I took was called The Christology of Jesus by Leander Keck, who was teaching there, who then went to Yale and became dean at Yale, and who was the chairman of the editorial board of the Interpreter's Bible set of commentaries that hundreds of the best biblical scholars work for. And in that course, we had an opportunity to say to Dr. Keck, well, okay, what do you think was so important about Jesus? Why would we call him the Christ? And the answer was that it's not the virgin birth, not even the death on the cross, but the very thing he felt was most important about Jesus was that more than anyone in human history, Jesus had the greatest God consciousness. Sound familiar? So, when I discovered Unity, two things. One, we said there is one power and one presence in the universe and in God. It's called radical monotheism. And one of my favorite books by Richard Niebuhr was Radical Monotheism. That's already where I was. But the other thing is to believe that this God consciousness is the greatest thing about Jesus. That's just delightful. And one of the best things I have ever heard in any worship service or any social gathering, one of the best things anybody can say is, I behold the Christ in you. I mean, isn't that an awesome thing? And so, I'm not going to go on as long as I could, but I'm delighted to share with you. I do want to leave this in mind with you. For Myrtle, the prime directive is you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. We not only think positively, but we believe that we are created by God, we are created in love, that we are children of God, and that we become more Christ-like. And as we affirm that and grow in that, we simply become more loving and greater human beings, leading a more fulfilled life. And thank you.
Faith will get me over that mountain. It's nothing I can see, but it's guiding me over that mountain to a better place. I must believe. Wings of faith, please carry me. just one more day.
I send my love over the mountains. I send my